Hello, I am Ashish Arora. I am working as a senior scientist at the Molecular and Structural Biology Division of CSIR, Central Drug Research Institute at Lucknow. Today, from paper 8, Medical Physics, I'll share with you module 25, Principles of 2D NMR Spectroscopy, Heteronuclear Correlations. The objective of this module is to present to you how can the chemical shift of heteronuclei directly bonded to proton be determined. For this, we begin with what is Hahn spin echo, what is insensitive nuclear enhancement by polarization transfer or INEPT, what is het core method of direct detection, carbon chemical shifts and linked proton chemical shifts. What is HMQC method of indirect detection of carbon chemical shifts linked to proton chemical shifts? What is heteronuclear single quantum coherence correlation HSQC? What is heteronuclear multiple bond correlation HMBC? How can the HSQC and TOCC be combined together to improve resolution of overlapped protons? We start with heteronuclear through bond correlation methods. In heteronuclear through bond correlation method, two different nuclei are correlated. For example, C13 and proton or N15 and proton through magnetization transfer from more sensitive proton to the less sensitive nuclei of interest like C13 or N15. It employs heteronuclear scalar couplings. The single bond 1J C13 proton, which is about 130 to 160 Hertz, or 1J N15 to proton, which is about 90 Hertz. In various heteronuclear correlation experiments, initially the proton spin polarization is transferred to the heteronuclei of interest through an INEPT sequence. The desired labeling of the heteronuclear spin is carried out in the evolution period. The heteronuclear coherence is finally transferred back to proton magnetization for detection. The gain in sensitivity compared to a correlation experiment in which proton magnetization is transferred to the S nucleus for detection is thus N bracket gamma I divided by gamma S bracket close to the power of 3 by 2, in which gamma I and gamma S are the gyromagnetic ratios of the I and S nuclei respectively, and N is the number of hydrogen atoms attached to the S nucleus. Evolution of the product operators under scalar coupling. So, before we start to learn how heteronuclear two-dimensional methods work, we have to understand what are the building blocks. And this is also a very good exercise to see how the product operators are employed in analysis of these simple experiments. So, when we talk about heteronuclear spins, two-spin system I and S, or a homonuclear spin system I and S, then for a two-spin system composed of spins I and S, 16 Cartesian product operator terms are required to describe the state of the system. The evolution of the product operators under scalar coupling during a delay period T is given by the IZ when you apply the coupling Hamiltonian, which is written as 2 pi JIS IZ SZT, then IZ is converted to IZ, whereas IX is converted to IX cos pi JIST plus 2 IYSZ sin bracket pi JIST bracket closed, and IY is transformed to IY cos pi JIST minus 2IX SZ sin pi JIST. Now, there are the two spin terms like 2IZSZ, and this term does not change under a coupling Hamiltonian. It remains as 2IZ You have 2IY and when this coupling Hamiltonian is applied, then you get 2IY cos pi JIST minus IX sin pi JIST. And when this is applied to the multi-quantum term 2IX then you have 2IX cos pi JIST plus IY sin pi JIST. Prior to this, on a single spin, we have seen how the pulse Hamiltonian and the free precession Hamiltonian have the effects, and now we see what is the effect of the coupling Hamiltonian. We consider a very essential Hahn spin echo for a single spin. Recently in February 2018, there was the conference of NMR Society held at IISER, Mohali. At this conference, Hahn spin echo in the very first lecture was described as a very important experiment in the development of NMR spectroscopy. The Hahn spin echo sequence consists of 90 degree x, then a delay t, 180 degree x, again the similar delay of t. Sequence where t is the delay period. For a single spin system starting from equilibrium magnetization proportional to Iz, consider the effect of pulse sequence of Hahn spin echo. So, the effect is as follow, as given in the figure in terms of the equations. From Iz, you have all of these different Hamiltonians applied, pi by 2 Ix plus sigma I Iz t plus pi Ix, which is the second pulse, plus sigma I Iz t. So that you apply the first 90 degree pulse and then the magnetization is affected by the free precession term, and then you have 180 degree pulse and then again you have the free precession term, and these can be taken in steps. So, Iz pi by 2 Ix gives you minus Iy. Minus Iy, the first free precession term would give you minus Iy cos omega it plus Ix sin omega it. Then you have a pi Ix pulse, and this gives you Iy cos omega it plus Ix sin omega it. Again you have the free precession term, and then you get Iy cos omega t minus Ix sin omega t cos omega it plus Ix cos omega it plus Iy sin omega t sin omega it. This is equal to Iy cos square omega it minus Ix sin omega it cos omega it plus Ix sin omega it cos omega it plus sin plus Iy sin square omega it, and the two terms cancel and we are left with is equal to Iy cos square omega it plus sin square omega it, and this is equal to Iy. Therefore, the effect of t 180 degree x t is to reverse the transverse magnetization from minus Iy to Iy. No net evolution of chemical shift occurs during the spin echo sequence, which is as shown in the top right. Let us consider Hahn spin echo for a homonuclear 2-spin system. Now, here if we start with Iz, then you can see all these equations are given, and in the end what we have is that we have the terms Iy cos 2 pi j ist minus 2 Ix sz sin 2 pi j ist. So, here we also apply the chemical shift Hamiltonian, the pulse Hamiltonian and the coupling constant Hamiltonian. The evolution under the chemical shift Hamiltonian is refocused and hence neglected for t 180 degree t period, as we just discussed in the previous slide. Overall, Iy evolves under the Hamiltonian 2 pi jis iz sz 2t by choosing t is equal to 1 by 4 jis or 1 by 2 jis, the pure anti-phase term minus 2 Ix sz or pure in phase term minus Iy respectively can be selected. Hahn spin echo for a heteronuclear 2-spin system with single 180-degree pulse. So, we have now a heteronuclear spin system. There is I spin and S spin, and only on the I spin a 90 delay, 180 delay is applied, and nothing is applied on the S spin. So, that what happens is Iz in the end gives you Iy cos square pi jist plus sin square pi jist, and this is equal to Iy because cos square theta plus sin square theta is equal to 1. Now, if there is a 180-degree pulse which is concomitantly applied on the S spin right when the 180-degree pulse is applied on the I spin, then you just get the same result as the homonuclear 2-spin system. The effect of T 180-degree T sequence with the 180-degree pulse on a single nuclei in a coupled heteronuclear IS spin system is same as that in the case of a single spin I. The evolution under both the chemical shift Hamiltonian and J coupling Hamiltonian is refocused. If spins I and S were synchronously pulsed with 180-degree X pulse, then the scalar coupling would be active and the result would be the same as that for the homonuclear 2-spin case. Insensitive nuclear enhancement by polarization transfer, INAPT. The aim of INAPT sequence is to transfer magnetization from a sensitive nucleus with a high gyrometric ratio, usually proton, to a less sensitive nucleus with a lower gyrometric ratio, which may be N15 or C13, by means of the scalar coupling interaction. The intensity ratio between the INAPT and conventional experiment is given by INAPT divided by conventional experiment intensities. They are equal to gamma I divided by gamma S. The advantage of performing the INAPT experiment becomes enormous as the gyrometric ratio of the S spin decreases. For example, N15 has 1/10 the gyrometric ratio of proton. An additional advantage of the INAPT experiment is that the repetition rate of the experiment is set by the relaxation time constants of the I spin rather than the S spin. Now, we look at the product operator analysis for INAPT sequence. If we see that the I spin is applied 90, then T, then 180-degree, and then again a delay T, and when this 180 is applied on I, then there is also a 180 on S. So, that this is same as the homonuclear case or the heteronuclear case where the 180-degree pulse is synchronously applied to both nuclei. And as we know that this can give us the product which are discussed. So, Iz, as you see, is applied with different Hamiltonians and they are taken up step by step, and for time T is equal to 1/4 JIS, we can proceed with the antiphase component, which is -2 IZSY. So, the interesting thing here is that we start with Iz and we end with -2 IZSY, which is an antiphase term, but here in place of the magnetization being on I, it goes to the S spin. Product operator analysis continued for INAPT sequence, and here you have the other details, the effect of INAPT sequence on S spin, and so that your SZ goes to SY. If we change the phase of the first 90-degree X to -X and keep the rest of the pulse sequence same, we will arrive at the following contribution from Iz minus Iy cos 2 pi jist plus 2 IZSY sin 2 pi jist. Whereas the contribution from the SZ term will remain unchanged. Subtracting the two would yield 2 into Iy cos 2 pi jist minus 2 IZSY sin 2 pi jist, which for t equal to 1/4 jis propagates the purely antiphase contribution minus 2 IZSY. Heteronuclear chemical shift correlation, heterocozy or het-core. The initial 90-degree proton pulse generates Hy magnetization as per the pulse sequence shown in right upper side. IHY magnetization evolves during the period T1. according to its Larmor frequency. The second 90-degree proton pulse generates non-equilibrium Z magnetization that is transferred to C13 in the manner of the inept experiment. The single 90-degree C13 pulse then provides the C13 FID that is acquired during T2. The 2D spectrum then has one axis in proton frequencies F1 and one in C13 frequencies F2. The peaks are in antiphase for each nuclei as is shown in the figure. Heteronuclear multiple quantum coherence HMQC. This is one of the first effective indirect two-dimensional heteronuclear experiment and is also very sensitive. Heteronuclear correlations through multiple quantum coherence HMQC detects the C13 frequencies through the directly attached proton frequencies. It correlates the chemical shifts of heteronuclei C13 in F1 dimension and protons in F2 dimension via the direct heteronuclear coupling 1JCH. The HMQC spectrum also shows through bond 1H1H couplings along the indirect C13 dimension because both proton and C13 are in the XY plane during C13 evolution. Carbon decoupling can be performed during proton acquisition with the GARP or worst sequences. Interfering proton 12C magnetization in HMQC can be suppressed either by using a Bird pulse or by gradient selection of proton C13 magnetization. Pulse sequence for HMQC is as shown. The HMQC pulse sequence starts with a 90-degree pulse on the proton followed by a delay delta. The initial proton magnetization from the 90-degree pulse becomes antiphase during the fixed delta through the 1JHC coupling. Multiple quantum coherence is then created by the first C13 pulse. The remainder of the sequence is designed to select double or higher quantum coherence over the single quantum coherence. Another 90-degree pulse on the C13 converts this antiphase term into a combination of zero and double quantum coherence. This coherence evolves during T1 and is exchanged by the 180-degree proton pulse so that the single quantum C13 frequencies are observed on proton dimension. The second 90-degree pulse on the C13 returns the multiple quantum coherence to observable antiphase proton magnetization. The second delay converts the antiphase term into an in-phase term. So, you see the HMQC spectrum of verbinol in CdCl3, which is the deuterated solvent. The structure of verbinol is given and is labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 and 10. And so, you can see that there are 3 methyls labeled as 7, 8 and 10. And there are these 3 peaks at lower field. The x-axis is the proton chemical shift, whereas the y-axis gives the carbon chemical shifts. And what you see are peaks. 3 of them are labeled 2, 5 and 9. And for example, 5 shows you a peak which is at around 5.3 ppm and it corresponds to around 120 ppm in carbon. So, this is a single bond CH correlation for the carbon at position 5 with its proton. Heteronuclear single quantum coherence HSQC. This is the most common experiment that is used both for the unlabeled natural abundance compound and also for the C13 or N15 labeled compounds. HSQC is an alternative to HMQC that accomplishes a similar objective. This type of correlation is used to determine the proton carbon or proton nitrogen single bond correlations in a molecule. The main difference from HSQC is that HSQC spectra do not contain proton-proton couplings in the C13 dimension. As a result, HSQC cross peaks tend to have improved resolution over analogous HMQC cross peaks. The basic scheme of this experiment involves the transfer of magnetization on the proton to the second nucleus, which may be N15 or C13, via an inept step. Single quantum C13 coherence is evolved and then is transferred back to the proton. frequency by a reverse inept sequence. The T1 noise artifacts are absent from the gradient HSQC spectrum. So, here you see the pulse sequence for HSQC. First, a 90-degree pulse is applied to proton, another pulse of 180 degrees applied to both nuclei proton and C13 or N15 after a delay of 1/4 J time period. Further, simultaneous 90-degree proton and C13 pulses after 1/4 J delay. This enacts the inept transfer of antiphase magnetization from the proton nucleus to the C13 or N15 nucleus. Carbon is frequency labeled during the variable T1 evolution time without being affected by the proton-carbon coupling, because a 180-degree pulse on proton is applied in between this duration. Single quantum C13 or N15 coherence which evolve are then transferred back to the proton frequency by a reverse inept sequence and detected with C13 or N15 decoupling. Let us, for example, look at the HSQC spectrum showing the expanded aromatic region of our favorite molecule strychnine. So, the carbons are labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see that now on the x-axis you have the carbon chemical shift and on the y-axis you have the proton chemical shifts. And the peak, the sharp peak labeled 1 is the carbon chemical shift, and the red colored contoured peak that you see links this to its proton chemical shift. What is very clear is peak number 4, which is very well segregated right at the lower right end, and you can see that there is the carbon peak and corresponding proton peak, which is also very well segregated. You see that the peak for the carbon 22, which is an alkene carbon, this comes also in this region, and this is very clearly labeled, and its proton frequency is very clearly identified through this experiment. Multiplicity edited HSQC. The pulse sequence for this experiment is as shown. The gradient selected spin echo HSQC experiment permits one to obtain a multiplicity edited HSQC spectrum. The multiplicity edited HSQC experiment is basically an HSQC pulse sequence in which 2 additional delay times delta and a 180-degree pulse are inserted around T1. And here is again the multiplicity edited HSQC spectrum of strychnine. You see blue peaks and red peaks. Blue peaks are in pairs. In a multiplicity edited HSQC spectrum, XH and XH3 groups are phased in one direction, typically positive, and XH2 groups are phased oppositely, negatively. In the multiplicity edited HSQC spectrum of strychnine, the CH2 groups show duplicate peaks in blue color, while the CH groups show single peaks in red color. Heteronuclear multiple bond correlation, HMBC. HMBC experiment provides cross peaks between protons and carbons that are not directly linked to each other. Direct one bond cross peaks are suppressed. The cross peaks are related through the 2JHC or 3JHC long range couplings. Cross peaks are between protons and carbons that are 2 to 3 bonds away. This experiment can provide information about the quaternary or ketone carbonyl carbons not directly bonded to a proton through the proton bonded to an adjacent carbon. To deal with the signals of the protons that are directly bonded to C13, a C13 90-degree pulse known as a J filter is inserted into the pulse sequence. Gradients can be incorporated to refocus longer range proton C13 magnetization selectively while leaving both direct proton C13 and proton C12 magnetization defocused and thus undetected. The pulse sequence of HMBC is as shown. The first C13 90-degree pulse applied after the first proton 90-degree pulse helps as a low pass J filter which suppresses one bond correlations in the 2D spectrum by creating proton C13 heteronuclear multiple quantum coherence. A 180-degree proton pulse inserted at the middle of this period removes the evolution of heteronuclear couplings and proton chemical shifts. Phase cycling the first C13 90-degree pulse with respect to the receiver removes the undesirable coherence. Second C30 90-degree pulse eliminates the signal of proton which is not correlated with long range of C13. Signal is detected immediately after third C13 90-degree pulse. The delay between 90-degree X pulse on I and S spins is termed as delta. The delta value in HMBC is generally set to 60 milliseconds, which corresponds to NJCH of around 8 Hz. Here we see the HMBC spectrum of sucrose shown in the figure. The green shows the 2-bond correlation between the 2' carbon and the 1' carbon as labeled in the structure. The red peak shows the 2-bond correlation between the 6' carbon and the 4' proton as shown in the or as labeled in the structure. I will repeat. Here we have the HMBC spectrum of sucrose as shown in the figure. The structure of sucrose is shown and is labeled. The green peak shows the 2-bond correlation between the 2' carbon and the 1' proton. The red peak shows the 2-bond correlation between the 6' carbon and the 4' proton. Now we see the expanded region of the HMBC spectrum of strychnine. The molecule is shown and labeled, and some of the peaks are also labeled. Notice the long range correlations between C6 and H17, H8, H1 and H4, C6 being a quaternary carbons. Between C21 and H12, H14, H20 and H23 as labeled on the spectrum, and between C5 and H1, H3, H4 and H8, and you can follow it in the structure. 2D HSQC TOCSY. The HSQC TOCSY experiment gives essentially the same information as TOCSY but has the important advantage of spectral dispersion. HSQC TOCSY utilizes the increased chemical shift range and dispersion of the X nucleus, usually C13, to separate the overlapped TOCSY proton spectrum. Rather than being correlated with the chemical shifts of other possibly overlapping protons, the proton signals are correlated with the chemical shifts of directly bonded X nuclei. Cross peaks are visualized between all J-coupled protons in a spin system and each carbon in that spin system. You see the pulse sequence of 2D HSQC TOCSY. In HSQC TOCSY, the magnetization is transferred from proton to its directly bonded carbon, just as in a regular HSQC experiment. A TOCSY spin lock mixing scheme is placed before acquisition. It is the combination of pulse sequence of both HSQC and TOCSY. Now here we see the 2D HSQC TOCSY spectrum of sucrose. The proton-proton TOCSY is observed along the proton-proton TOCSY is observed along the y-axis. For example, proton 1 shows TOCSY cross peaks with protons 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. However, the proton magnetization is transferred to the attached carbon and therefore the peaks are well separated along the y-axis. And again we see 2D TOCSY spectrum of strychnine. Separation of the H14, H15 and H16 peaks through TOCSY effect for H15 and transfer of magnetization to C15 can be seen. Here the x-axis is the carbon chemical shift and the y-axis is the proton chemical shift. By doing all of the homonuclear two-dimensional experiments that we have described in the previous module and the heteronuclear two-dimensional experiments like HSQC, HMBC and HSQC TOCSY, we are able to assign the carbon chemical shifts of strychnine. In this figure, you see the labeling of the molecule of strychnine and its C13 NMR spectrum. The peaks around 77 ppm, they come from the solvent CDCl3 and the rest of the peaks come from the molecule and now they are identified as which peak belongs to carbon at which particular position. With this, we come to the end of this module, and let us summarize. As the molecular size increases, the proton NMR spectrum gets more complex and difficult to assign even by two-dimensional homonuclear methods. Heteronuclear single and multiple bond correlations are used to resolve and assign the chemical shifts. The building blocks of multidimensional heteronuclear experiments are the Hahn-Eco and ENAP. The simplest experiment to correlate carbon and proton chemical shifts is HET-CORE, which directly detects carbon chemical shifts and indirectly detects the chemical shifts of protons bonded to carbon. A more sensitive method is HMQC, in which the proton chemical shifts are directly detected and the chemical shifts of carbon bonded to proton are indirectly detected. An improved version of HMQC is HSQC, in which the proton-proton couplings do not evolve. Long-range couplings provide chemical shifts for quaternary carbon through the HMBC experiment. The overlap in proton toxi peaks can be resolved through the HSQC toxi experiment. Thank you.